Hey Leaps, welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Okay, we have the Father in the Bridge, the Medallion and the Vision, Anima Mundi, the Bardo, the Creator, the One, the Poet, and the Forest. Leaps. Okay. I feel like you guys are kind of coming out of this place where things were kind of falling apart because they were established on extremes. Like an extreme idea of love, an extreme idea of acceptance, an extreme idea of, I kind of want to use the example of like getting into a relationship with someone because they will bend over backwards for you and they will loquaciously, like shower you in adoration. But it's adoration that's not really founded on anything other than what you can do for those people. It's kind of like the idea of like being put on a pedestal, right? I mean, like you want that admiration, you want that affirmation. You need to, like it's kind of this idea of like, I'm feeling insecure and so I need people to, like feed my ego. But when they're feeding your ego, they're doing it because they think that you have something that they want. But it's all very abstract, right? It's just kind of this idea of like, it's like when you meet those those couples where, like they just seem obsessive and they seem, like, and they're fighting all the time and they hate everyone and there's control and there's ownership and da 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 da. Why? Because one person or the other, without really knowing what they were talking about, without really understanding anything, decided that you were the one, or you were, like that was what they wanted. But like they don't see you, they don't know you, they don't have anything to bring to the table to offer you other than feeding your ego, right? Like you don't actually have anything in common with this person. And I feel like there's this idea of like, of being a part of a community, accepting a job, being in a relationship where you thought they, like where they blew you up, they fed your ego and they were like, this is great, da da da, and we want you to be in this position and we think da 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 da. And you get there only to find out there's not a lot of compatibility, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of, like all of these things. And so this inflated version of you is very easily deflated. Like they can blow you up and they can pop you with a pen and they can knock you on your ass. And there's the sincerity that's accessible through all of this is like none. And I think that you're understanding that, like sincerity and a reality of understanding and alignment is all very, very important. I kind of think of the Bible where it's like, equally yoked, but like, what does that mean? Like for Christians, it's like, oh, well, they're Christian too, so that must mean that we're equally yoked. But it's like, but do you share a common interest? Do you share common goals? Do you approach life in the same way? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more to it all than just this like feeding of the ego. And I think that you're starting to really become aware of that in a way that's really allowing you to create a vision for your life that is more all-encompassing of like the reality of who you are. Because now that you have this insight of like understanding the pain, understanding the need for the pain. It was like one of your reads where it's like you, like, it's not that love is a lie, it's that I've been accepting lies as love. And I feel like you're past that, but now you're starting to understand how you can find the beauty in that, how you can develop integrity and awareness when you're choosing your relationships, when you're choosing your jobs, when you're choosing, your communities. I feel like there's more intention behind your creation of those things now, because you recognize the fact that when it's just about feeding your ego and it's not about like the concrete reality of how you align with these people, that it doesn't get you as far as you thought it would, and it doesn't feel as great as you thought it did either. And I think that's giving you an opportunity to really go for something that you might have avoided otherwise because you didn't know what to expect. But it's like, well, when you know what to expect from people who are just like falsely inflating your ego, then you're not as afraid of people who are going to be more real. Jobs that are going to be more aligned with you, communities that are going to be more aligned with you. Not that there wasn't, not, I don't want to say more real, like they were fake, but there was no like foundation. Yeah. Judgment, the 8 of Cups and the 4 of Cups with Strength and the 9 of Wands. I think that it's taking a lot to really clear out what wasn't working and having to really understand why it wasn't working, how it was upsetting to not only you, but also these people, you know, because I say all of that, but not to knock the people that you were with, because they're also probably experiencing a similar experience of feeling like, oh, they thought I was great because I liked them so much, or I thought this, and that, but in reality, they didn't really like me. Unless I was there to like boost their ego, right? I mean, it's probably the same story on the other side of the fence, right? And everybody has to learn this lesson, but everybody learns it the hard way. No judgment. I do the same thing. But really having to have the strength to cut it out, because if you don't clear out the negativity, you don't have room for the positivity. If you don't clear out the bullshit, you don't have room for what's actually aligned for you. And this really just seems to be like you are, I don't know if you're clearing it out or it's just being cleared out for you, but either way, you're having to really call on your strength to move through this because it feels heavy. It feels painful. I wish that more people acknowledge the fact that growing pains hurt. Whether it's a spiritual growing pain, an emotional growing pain, a financial growing pain, it hurts to grow. And I feel like you're growing and it hurts and you feel frustrated because why does it hurt if I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing? Growth hurts, I guess, you know? The Queen of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Nine of Wands, Page of Pentacles, and Temperance. Well, I mean, Temperance is a Libra card. But I feel like there's this idea of really being more founded in who you are. It's hard for us to find people who we're aligned with when we don't know what we stand for as individuals. And I feel like Libras are very wishy-washy in nature and very prone to wanting to like please like people pleasing. And I feel like once you start focusing on you and your strengths and your talents and your desires and your wants, that's when you're going to be able to really come into your growth and find your balance and move with passion and logic toward your goals. Leaves. Temperance again. Temperance, the Devil, and the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like there's, bondage, releasing yourself from the bondage of extremes that lacked sincerity, and coming into a balance that really allows for you to rise up in your power. It really allows for you to acquire the abundance that is more than financial. It's spiritual, it's emotional, it's, you know, like my day-to-day life is balanced. My, you know, like instead of putting out fires everywhere, now you are tending to gardens everywhere. It's kind of what I want to say. Rising up in your power and tending to the gardens at hand that you've created intentionally. Okay, Leaves. One more card for y'all. I'll read. The Orphan. It's that unhealed wound of abandonment that drives all of us to seek control in a situation. And I think oftentimes we think that we can control situations when people exhibit more of an obsession, more of a, you know, like, oh, I just love you and I think you're wonderful, and, you know, like, I'll do anything for you. But it's like, you don't, like, when you actually really stop and like see what you've 11 when you actually stop and see what it is that you've bound yourself to, you know, like, you bound yourself to a commitment that ultimately you abandoned yourself for. And I feel like you're coming out of that state of abandoning yourself in the hopes that you'll have a community that won't abandon you, standing in your power and attracting a community that stands in its power and supports you for who you are, because it's in alignment with who they are, not a community that isn't aligned and doesn't sincerely support you, just tries to dictate you. Okay, Libras, well, I hope this resonates with y'all. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe if it does. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.